Pavana Paramadya Premadatta Padma Kumar Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Prema Purushotama Sachinandan Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Sitanata Pramanande Hari Sri Chaitanya Sri Advaita Chandra Jai today is the divine disappearance day of our most beloved Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Takhura. So before we offer our Shraddha Pushpanjali, the flowers of our faith at his lotus feet, we'll do Guru Puja to Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and everyone can. Do you have flower petals?
Yes.
Everyone can make their offering at his lotus feet. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Charana Panva Keval Bhakti Sadma Panva Keval Sri Guru Charana Panva Keval Bhakti Sadma Utamagati Shri Guru Charane Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utamagati Prasade pure sava asha Ye prasade pure sava asha Prasade pure sava Chakodano dilo de janme janme Prabhu se Chakodano dilo de Chakodano dilo de janme janme Prabhu se Divya Gandhi de Prokashito Oh Divya Gandhi de Prokashito Prema Bhaktiya hoite avidya vinashyate Prema Bhaktiya hoite avidya vinashyate Vere gaya hara charito Gaya hara charito Oh vere gaya hara charito Oh Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Oh Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Aloknath Karajvana Aloknath Karajvana Asila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Prabhu Karo Daya Te Hamare Pada Chaya Prabhu Karo Daya Te Hamare Pada Chaya Daya Te Hamare Pada Oh Yave Yasha Gusu Tribhuvana Adure Pade Loinu Sharana Asila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Bhakti Lila Pravist Om Vishnupada Stora Sadasi Rupanuga Charyavarya Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Takhura Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
I'm sorry about that.
Namashristam Manamapi Shachiputram Patra Surupam Rupam Tasyagajam Vipurim Maturim Goshvati Radha Kunda Magivaram Ahoradika Madhvasam Praptoyas Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tamnatos Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaitrai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktai Gad Bhaktaya Namo Ananda Lila Maya Vigraha Hema Bhadravats Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Bhaktya Vina Aparada Lakshe Kirtastu Brahmari Karam Bhamati Kripa Mahitvam Sharanam Prapanam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Everyone. Hey Krishna, Hey Radha, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Sham Sundar Shikhanda Shikha Smaraha Smurali Manohara Radhika Rasikam Mama Kripanithe Supriyachana Kinkarim Kuru Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Nama Charantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, Asmadeva Paramaradatam Guru Pada Nitya-lila Pravish Om Vishnupad Ashto Saraswati Sri Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev to Srila Prabhupada and all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis By the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, today we are celebrating the divine Tirubhav Tithi, Disappearance Festival, Viraha Mahotsav, festival of separation from the lotus feet of our most dear Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Takhura. In Vaishnava Tantra, it is said, Na karma bandhanam janma Vaishnavanam na vidyate. A pure Vaishnava has no birth and no death. They have no bondage of karma. They are not forced to appear in this world and undergo the reactions of their misdeeds. But rather, just as Sri Krishna appears in this world, Janma karma chame divyam evam yogeti tatsutaha. Sri Krishna's appearance and all his activities and disappearance from this world, they're all divya, transcendental. So in the same way, Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim asritaha. The pure Vaishnavas, they're not under the control of the Maya Shakti, the Bahiranga Shakti, external energy. They are daivim prakritim asritaha. All their divine activities are the play of Sri Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti, Bhakti Shakti. So, Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Takhura, he is the very powerful manifestation of Guru Tattva. The Akhanda Guru Tattva, original Guru Tattva, is Sri Nityananda Prabhu, or Baladev Prabhu. In regard to Nityananda Prabhu, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pai, he has said, Prema pracharana ara pashanda dalan duikarya avaduta karina brahman. The Avadut, Nityananda Prabhu, was wandering from place to place, country to country, performing two karya, two duties. One, prema pracharan, propagating prema bhakti, pure bhakti. And his other duty, prema pracharana ara pashanda dalan, and cutting all the arguments of the atheists and offenders and crushing their influence. So because the Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanya Das Tatapi Janya Ami Tahara Prakash, even though Sri Guru is a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but at the same time he is also Tahara Prakash, the Prakash, a manifestation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prakash Vigraha is Nityananda Prabhu. And so we see fully manifested in the life of our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur how he was engaged in these two parallel missions, that is Prema Pracharan, preaching pure love, and at the same time Pashandadalan, crushing the atheistic ideas which are antagonistic to pure bhakti. He appeared in the year 1874. At that time, his father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was living in a house called Narayan Chatta, which is on the Grand Road in Jagannath Puri. So at that time when he was born, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave him the name Bimala Prasad. So Bimala is the Parashakti, the transcendental energy of Lord Jagannath. So they're in Jagannath Puri. So he called him the servant
of the mercy, of the Shakti of Lord Jagannath, Bimala Prasad. And when he was born with his umbilical cord wrapped around his shoulder, he already looked like he'd undergone the Upanayan Sanskar. So when he was 6 months old, Ratiyatra festival was going on, and it sometimes happens that Lord Jagannath has the pastime of bringing his chariot, the Rath, to a standstill, and no one can move it. Even soldiers, even elephants, even horses, they cannot move it. So at that time, the Lord Jagannath brought his cart to a standstill right outside the Narayan Chatra, the house where Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was renting at that time. And the mother of our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, the very pious and pure devotee Bhagavati Devi, she brought her 6 months old son and climbed up onto the Rath cart and put him at the feet of Lord Jagannath. And the small baby held on to the feet of Lord Jagannath. And then Lord Jagannath's garland fell onto the baby. So this is called Agyamala. Sometimes if a devotee is praying, "Oh my Lord, please bless me that I can go on to a parikrama to some place," and then as the devotee is praying, then the Lord's garland drops. This is considered to be Agyamala, to give the permission, yes, you can go. So, and then the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur performed the Annaprashnan ceremony, that is the first grain ceremony, with Lord Jagannath's Mahaprasada. So there was all auspiciousness from the very beginning of his pastimes in this world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, in his childhood, he was put in very good school and associated with many high-class pandits. He quickly learnt Sanskrit and Nyaya, and especially astrology. When he was a boy, he had a great interest in astrology. And when he was 7 years old, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur began to do archaeological excavation of the site of Jagadananda Pandit's Bhajan Kutia in Sathasan. It is one of the 7 mats in Sathasan Road in Jagannath Puri. And at that time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur found a deity of Kurma. So he gave this Kurma deity to his 7-year-old son, and also gave him the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And Kurma mantra, and also taught him how to do puja. So even today, children very much love teenage turtles. So in childhood he was worshipping Kurma. But what is the deep meaning? In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna has said, Yada samharate chayam kurman gani vasavashaha indriyat indriyatyabhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. A person is considered to be pragya pratishtita, fixed in transcendental consciousness, who is satisfied within themselves, and they have no attachment to the objects of the senses. In fact, they are such that when the objects of the senses are present, just as a tortoise can withdraw all his limbs within the shell, so in the same way, they withdraw their senses and their mind from the external world and remain steadily situated in the bliss of the self. So from childhood he was worshipping Kurma, and he developed this power of complete control of the senses. Once when he was a boy, he went into the kitchen and he took a mango. And then afterwards his father said, "Oh, this is not a Mahaprasad, it was not offered." And then he criticized himself so much. I am such a sense enjoyer. I have done a wicked deed, tasting that which was not offered to the Supreme Lord first. And he made a vow, for my whole life, I will never eat mango again. As a penance for this terrible deed. So you can see these types of qualities are quite uncommon. What to speak of in children, they're uncommon in adults. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he used to travel here and there preaching, and his small son Bimala Prasad used to take his father's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Chaitanya Charamrita under his arm and accompany him to the programs in the evening time. And he would sit and patiently listen to all the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. After some time being in Puri, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had developed quite a reputation, and many persons were coming to hear his katha. And then, because he was a government official, he was told by the government that he had to do some business out of state. So he left Orissa for some time, and he told his son, "No, you have been hearing for a long time. While I am gone, you can give the class." So then the young Bimala Prasad began to give class in the place of his father. But after speaking for some time, people were getting up and leaving. And then the next day, more and more people were leaving. And by the time Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur came back, then he saw that only 1 or 2 people were coming to the lecture. Why? Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was extremely liberal and extremely accommodating. And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is also extremely liberal and accommodating, but perhaps in a way which is unpalatable for those who are very attached to the bodily conception of life. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was writing books and publishing books, and he was engaging his son in editing. So Bimala Prasad said, "My father taught me to be a proofreader, but I am not only a proofreader of books, I am a proofreader of men. And I was born under the astrological sign of the Cancer, the crab. And that is my nature, that when I meet a person, then I proofread them. And if I discover in their heart there is anything which is contrary to Anya Vilasita Shunyam Jnana Kama Dinaritam Anupuyen Krishnanu Shilam Bhakti Uttama, anything which contradicts the favorable and continuous engagement in loving service to Sri Krishna, any trace of Anya-Vilas, desires other than the service of Sri Krishna, then being born under the sign of the crab, then I pinch it." So this was his preaching technique, that he would identify any Anya-Vilas, other desires. He said that if a sadhu flatters you, then that sadhu is your enemy. But rather, when a sadhu is speaking, it's like a yajna, a sacrifice of goats. And the audience have come, and all their material desires are like goats standing in a line. And the sadhu is there with his upraised axe, and he's speaking and just cutting them one after another. This is actually Harikatha. So not everyone can tolerate this, because many persons are very much attached to their worldly desires. So when he was speaking, they were leaving one by one, and gradually the audience became very small. So when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked him what happened to everyone, then Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, "Better an empty cowshed than a cowshed full of sick cows." Maybe we have some Goshala Wallace here. So you know. So that was his philosophy, because if you have a core group of very pure persons, then you can preach everywhere. But if everyone is rotten, then better to have no one. If all are doing bhakti only as a pretense, for the Kanaka Kamini Pratishta Bhagini Chariyati Yari Seto Vaishnav, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he wrote a song, "Dushtuman, Tumi Kishara Vaishnav, oh my wicked mind, what type of devotee are you? All your so-called Nirdhyam Bhajan, chanting alone, is just for Pratishta, only for show. Kanaka Kamini Pratishta Bhagini, you are begging to one tigress, the tigress of the money and the fame and the association of ladies, or to come and eat you. So only pure Vaishnavas, they are free from all such desires, and they have conquered Maya." So after some time, our Bimala Prasad, he went to college. So when he was at college, his scholarship was extraordinary. He wrote a commentary on the Prayojana, and if you read it, you cannot believe. Actually, he was 15 when he wrote the commentary on Prayojana, and you cannot believe the maturity of his writing. Quite incredible. And he made in the college one debating group. It was called the August Assembly. August meaning that time of the year when everything has become ripe. So it's for those who are ripened in their determination, in their spiritual life, pakka. So the only prerequisite for joining this group, this debating group in his college, is that you have to take a vow to never be married in your whole life. So he was there at college for some time, and then he thought, oh, I will drop out. Because if I finish my qualifications, then my family, they will harass me to get married. So it's better that I present myself to the world as a foolish and uneducated person than become entangled in Maya. So his professors, they begged him, please stay here. We'll keep a chair for you at the university, the chair of astrology. He said, no, I have not come to this world to count the stars. This human form of life is for bhajan. So he left his college and he thought it's better that I just maintain my life by some honest work, which it takes very little of my energy, and spend my time chanting and serving Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father was very worried about his son, who was now a college dropout. So he arranged for him to become a tutor to the prince. There was a king of Tripur, and at that time Tripur was an independent state. So the king of Tripur had a Yuvaraj, a crown prince, and he wanted a tutor for his son. So Bimala Prasad, then he became his tutor and he was teaching. After some time, the mother of the boy, the queen, became very disturbed. She came to the king and said, we have to get rid of this tutor, because this tutor is having a very bad influence upon our son. Now he's wearing tosimala, and he's also wearing tilak. At any moment, by the influence of this tutor, he might become a sadhu and leave home. And then what we will do, our royal lineage will be finished. So then the king, he was quite sad because he had affection for our Bhima Prasad. So just to sweeten the dismissal, he said, I'm sorry, but you cannot continue teaching our son, but I'll give you full salary. Just don't come back. And he kept receiving that salary up until 1908, actually. So you can imagine, he began his vrat to chant 1 billion names in 1905. So by then he was completely renounced, complete vairagi, unabsorbed, chanting 3,192 rounds of Harinam every day. And still during that time, for the first 3 years of his vrat, he was still receiving that stipend, that salary from the king. So then he left that job, but he told the king, that's fine, I have fulfilled my purpose in coming here. First of all, you have a very grand library with very rare books of philosophy. So while I was here, I have read all of them. And second thing, I have put Bhaktilata Beej, the seed of devotion, in the heart of your son. And it is indestructible, it's eternal, it will never go away. So now I have done my 2 missions here. Please excuse me. So then, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very worried. Oh, what will my son do now? So my Gurudev used to say, just see, though he was so qualified, because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has so much love for him, then he could not see his vaibhav, his opulence. Already his opulence was manifesting so powerfully. But when there is love, when there is sneha, affection, then one becomes blind to the opulence. Just like in Vrindavan. Even if Krishna will live Govardhan Hill for 7 days and nights on his little finger, or perform so many miracles, but the Brijbasis still think, oh, he's a very vulnerable child, we have to take care of him. This is the nature of love. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this very lokik sadbandhu bhat sambandha, natural loving relationship. And he thought, my son is useless at anything in the material world. And he just arranged a piece of land for him in Mayapur. And gave him a teaching and said, you stay here and do bhajan. So then, our Prabhupada came to Mayapur. And in 1905, he began his brat to chant 3 lakhs Harinam every day, staying in one place there. And he was also writing, during that time he wrote his commentary on Upadeshamrita and also on Chaitanya Charitamrita. And at that time also, by the influence of his Nam Bhajan, his first disciple, he was a son of a magistrate, very high class young man, and in a dream he saw Bimala Prasad came to him, and he the next day he woke up, and then he went to that place and begged for initiation from Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was like a moon surrounded by the stars of his eternal associates. He said that one of the special contributions of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, two of the special contributions. One, he has written Shastra in such a way that it answers all the questions of the modern materialistic and empiricist perspective, and completely removes all their doubts. And his second speciality is that by his fervent prayers, he called the eternal associates of Sachinanda and Gohari to come to this world. So one of them was our Prabhupada, and he was like a moon, and so many other associates, eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the prayers of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, descended to this world and became the stars around that moon. Like our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Rakshat Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, and so many others. So these persons, they began to approach him by the power of his Nam Bhajan. At that time he was staying in Mayapur, in the place which is called the Braj Patanam. It is on the site of the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya, the maternal uncle of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was there that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates used to perform dramas in that house. And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was doing bhajan, and there are two small lakes there, and he made a Govardhan, and he was meditating that he was at the foot of Govardhan on the bank of Radhakund and Shamakund nearby, and completely absorbed in his Nam Bhajan. In 1914, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world. And then in 1915, shortly afterwards, Srila Prabhupada's Diksha Guru, who had given him the name Sri Barshabhanami Devi Daita Das, that is our Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, also left this world. And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur went into a state of profound separation. In fact, it appeared that he was in a depression. He had been writing commentary on Upadeshamrita, and 7 verses he had completed, but now he gave up his translation also. He was seeing that the world was enveloped in darkness. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, before leaving, had told him, "O Saraswati, after I am gone, then the corrupted seed of the conception of Rupa Kaviraj will enter into our Navadip Dham Pracharini Sabha." That was their group for developing the lost holy places of Navadip Dham. And everything will become spoiled. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur made a vow to his father, "If it were to happen, then I swear that I will give my whole life to prevent it." So the meaning is that there was a Vaishnava at the time of Vishwanath Thakur named Rupa Kaviraj, and he had an idea that you have to follow the Brij Basis not only in Siddha form but in Sadhak form as well. And so because of this, those who were following him became quite undisciplined in their practice, and various types of deviation entered into the Sampradaya because of not having a clear understanding of what is the Siddharup and Sadhak Rup. Sadak Roop means this body in which you are situated. Seva Sadaka Rupena Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. And by this body, we never follow the residents of Vrindavan in the Krishna Lila. We follow the residents of Vrindavan in Sadak forms, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, doing sadhan, and following the rules and regulations of bhakti strictly. And then Siddha Rupena Chatrahi, in one's internally conceived spiritual body. What is that, internally conceived? The Siddha Rup has been explained in the commentaries. It means Antas Chinti Dabdista Tat Seva Upayogi Dehena, with a body which is suitable for rendering one's desired services. So, many persons think that this is mentally conceived. That in your mind you picture something and then you start speculating about how you are serving, following the Brijvasis. This is not the meaning of Siddharup. This is imitation. The Siddharup is the manifest. It is like an Avirbhav. It is like an avatar. It is a descent of a very, very beautiful spiritual form which appears in one's meditation. And this realization comes after realizing Krishna's Nam, Rup, Gun, and associates. And then by meditating on the associates, one manifests a body which is exactly like theirs. And then the stage of service comes. So Jiva Goswami has clearly described this in Bhakti Sandarbha, that there is a Kram Sopan Ritya. One should serve internally according to the sequential steps. Tan Nama Rupa Charitari Sukirtanam. So the steps are Pratamam Namna Sravana Antakarnam Shuddhyatam Apeksham Shuddhech Antakarane Rupa Shravanena Tadudoy Yogyata Bhavati. Srila Jiva Goswami Pad said in Bhakti Sandarbha, in the beginning, the ability to hear the holy name depends on the shuddhata of the antakaran, the purity of the chitta. If we are hearing Hare Krishna, Hare, but from the perspective of our ego, then we are not really hearing the name. And when the chitta has become Chaito Darpana Marjana, the mirror of the chitta has become cleansed, and when we hear the name, we are not thinking that we are producing the name, that the Nam is Jiva Adin, under the control of my tongue or your tongue, but rather our tongues are Nam Adin, Kirtan Adin, under the control of the name. And Nam Prabhu, Golo Kera Prema Dan, Hari Nam Sankirtan. Nam Prabhu himself is descending. Kaler Dharma Krishna Nama Sankirtan. See, this is the Nam avatar of Krishna. And that avatar is descending and dancing on the tongue. Tunde Tandamani Ratim Vitanute Tandavali Labdaye. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada has said, oh, when this name is dancing on my tongue, then I want millions of tongues and millions of ears. So, first, Nam should appear. And then, as the heart is purified and one experiences the descent, the avatar of Nam Prabhu, then see Krishna's beautiful form appears within the heart. And when the form has fully awakened, then Krishna's qualities. And then Krishna's associates. And then you can meditate on them. Krishnam smaram janam chasya prastam nija sunihitam tattat kathar taschaso karyat basam braje sada. And meditating on those associates, gradually your chitta becomes just like them. And then you can serve in your spiritual form. So this is the actual process of Raganuga Bhakti. It is not imagination, it is not speculation. It cannot be imitated to produce any positive effect. But rather, the speculation, imitation of Nam Bhajan is done by those who commit Namaparad and they have aversion actually to the pure holy name. So, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Takhura, he was writing his commentary on Upadeshamrita, but on the disappearance of his Shiksha Guru Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Diksha Guru Srila Gopshodas Bhagdi Maharaj, he fell into a type of transcendental depression. He was seeing that speculation and imitation of Raganuga Bhakti was spreading everywhere like a disease. And so it seemed as if he were in a state of depression. What can I do? I am one person. I have no knowledge, I have no facility, I have no assistance or manpower or anything. Then one night, in a dream, he saw Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Vishnu Chakri Thakur and Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and the 6 Goswamis, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the whole Panchatattva, and they were all doing very loud, ecstatic Harinam Sankirtan. And seeing them in the dream, he became very enlivened. And Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his whole Guru Parampara, they came up to him and surrounded him. And they said to him, "Oh, don't be discouraged. Now is the time to preach. We will send you everything. We will send you unlimited resources. We will send you unlimited scholarship and unlimited supporters. Just begin your preaching now." And then when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he woke up, then he became very inspired and he began very energetic preaching. We are indebted to Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. If he had not illuminated the path of pure bhakti and explained what is real Ragamarg, giving evidence from Srila Jiva Goswami and others, then it's highly likely that the pure path would have been completely lost. He was very much opposed to the Prakrita Sahaja. Now, this term Prakrita Sahaja is very much misunderstood because generally people think it's a pejorative to be thrown around to insult people. Oh, he's a Sahaja. He's a Sahaja. Like this. You're a Sahaja. Like this. So, no, it's not an insult. It's a technical term. It actually means something. So what does it mean? Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta at the Albert Hall gave a seminar there about the divine sound, transcendental sound. And there he said that if a person is surrendered to their Guru and they are serving fully with all their body, mind, words and senses, then when they hear the Shabda Brahma, the transcendental sound from the lips of a pure devotee, then there is no difference between the Nam and Nami, between Krishna and his name. There's no difference between the description of Sri Krishna's Leela and Krishna's Leela itself. So when that disciple is listening to his Guru, then in his heart he's seeing Srutakshitapata, he's seeing the pastimes of Krishna through the ears, through the process of hearing. In Brajil he said, Pat ute parda ute, which means when the katha begins, then the curtain rises. You know? Because if you go to a theatre, you sit down, it's in the dark, then the lights come on and the curtain rises and then the drama begins and you can see it. So pat ute parda ute, that when the Harikatha begins, for those who are really surrendered, then the curtain rises and they see the drama of Krishna's Leela. This is actually the real meaning of Shravanam. But very few are those persons who actually have Bhakti Adhikar, who have that eligibility to experience what is real Sravanam. So what to speak of real Kirtanam or Smaranam, which is the Mukhya Anga, the main limb of Raganuga Bhakti. So people in general, they don't understand what is Smaranam, they don't understand what is Sravanam even. So he explained that if a person is not surrendered and they're not dedicated to the service of their Guru, then what happens when the transcendental sound comes, it becomes interfered, it becomes intercepted by Maik Vyavadan. That means the impediments coming from Maya. And then the message, the transcendental message of the Supreme Lord becomes refracted. And instead of giving a direct experience, that is called the Jatiti Pratita, a direct internal realization upon hearing, instead one gets 4 types of knowledge: Parischinna Gyan, Sankirn Gyan, Vikrita Gyan, and Vivartagrasta Gyan. So Parischinna Gyan means fractions, parts of information. Instead of having experience of the Krishna's pastimes, you just collect some bits of information. Or it may be Sankirn Gyan, means perhaps a little realization is coming, but it's mixed with some material ideas, Sankirn Gyan. Or Vikrita Gyan means distorted knowledge, or just completely Vivartagrasta. Vivarta means that the knowledge is completely under the grip of illusion, total misunderstanding. So, unless one will follow Krishna's teaching in Gita, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeksamte jnanam jnanas tattvadarshanaha. To approach the sadhu, pranipat, falling on the ground without reservation, without hesitation, and in a mood of complete surrender, and rendering service, and posing relevant questions. By this, one can receive the Shabda Brahma, the transcendental sound, which is the Swayam Prakash, self-illuminating. And then one has direct experience and realization. And if one is only imitating, if one is pretending, if one is not niskapata and niswarta, free from duplicity and not free from selfishness, then the message will come and it will be refracted into the Parischinna Gyan, Sankiran Gyan, Vikrita Gyan and Vivartagrasta Gyan. 4 types of the illusory knowledge. So then for that person, when they are chanting Harinam, instead of the holy name manifesting in their heart Krishna's form and qualities, nothing manifests. And so then they try to manifest it by their own material effort. So sahaja, saha means with, and ja means born. You are born with a particular prakriti nature. So if you think that the transcendental experience will come within the limitation of the material nature with which you are born, then Prabhupada himself coined the phrase prakrita sahaja. Prakrita sahaja. So just as if you go to a clothing store, you can see in the window there are dummies there. So these are called putalika. So these are not human beings. They are a fake, a very cheap, fake type of human being looking thing. So when your bhajan is fake, like that, not real, then this is called pautalikata. Pautalikata. It is a pretend, a fake bhajan. So as long as the heart is not receiving the Shabda Brahma and the transcendental knowledge is not Swayam Prakash Shokta Siddha self-manifested in the heart, then those, instead of being humble and thinking, I must surrender more, I must serve more, I must pray, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, Koro Edase, Trinapeksha Atihina, oh Gurudev, bestow your mercy upon me and make me more humble than a blade of grass. They try to sidestep all of these inconvenient things and go straight for the bhajan. But what is their bhajan? Pautalikata. Only cheap mannequins in the window. This is not really Radha and Krishna. This is a product of the material mind. Aprakrita vastu nahi prakrita gocha vedi paraneti ekohi niranta. Mahaprabhu said that the divine substance never appears within the confines of Prakriti, the material energy. And all the Vedas and Puranas repeat this again and again. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Takhura, after the disappearance of his Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, and seeing these misconceptions had spread everywhere, so he had gone into the transcendental depression. What can I do for this? But his old Guru Parampara came to him and gave him blessings, and then he became filled with enthusiasm, and many qualified young men, the cream of society, doctors and lawyers and persons from very aristocratic families, they left whatever they were doing and became fully surrendered at his lotus feet. And he empowered them and began to preach bhakti everywhere, very, very strongly. Sometimes he would come out of the mat and one old person used to come to him and accost him. Oh, you are a cheater, you are bogus. And the disciples, they were so angry that this person was insulting their guru. But he checked them, shh, don't say anything. After some time, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came out from the mat for a walk, and he asked his disciples, oh, where is that old man who used to come here? They said, oh, Prabhupada, he passed away. And they were, I'm sure, relieved that he passed away. But Prabhupada became very grave, and he said, he was my best friend. Because this is the nature of the transcendentalist. We can see to what degree we have become purified. If someone glorifies us, and that is like music to the ears, again, have $20, repeat. Then there's no bhakti at all. If bhakti is appearing in the heart, then one will become shy and ashamed. if someone will glorify him. And if someone will criticize him, then he'll think, oh, this is nectar. Really, this is nectar. Because the Vaishnava is always criticizing himself. This is one of the bhavs, the Atmaninda, self-criticism. Amara jivana sadapapirata nahiko punya lesha. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, my whole life I was sinful. I have not even a slight trace of piety in me. Parayara udvega diyachi yekoti diyachi jivara klesha. I have given so much trouble and problems to other persons. When I see that someone is failing, then I feel good satisfaction in my heart. And if I see that someone is becoming successful, then I become depressed. Oh, why is he becoming successful? So it's very painful to hear, but this is the nature of the conditioned soul. Every conditioned soul is corrupt to the core. And don't say that it's not true and you're not in that category. Of course, some of you are liberated, but the ones of you who are not liberated, every conditioned soul is corrupt to the core. And they're boiling with the fever of enviousness and lust and anger and greed, and covered by a little veneer and some tilak. And we can fool others, but we cannot fool Gurudev. Gurudev knows everything. And Guru will arrange some situation in our life to provoke us, so that the bad qualities will come out also. So be careful. Always remember Mahaprabhu's teaching. Tanadapi sunichena one who does not react when they're provoked, then this is very pleasing to the Supreme Lord, and by that you can purchase his heart. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur set this example in his own life. He was very, very humble. Although he used to preach boldly like a lion and criticize the faults, those things which are against bhakti, he was not against any individual soul. There's a saying, hate the sin but not the sinner. He was not against anyone, but many persons misunderstood him and became against him. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, when his disciples would come and give pranam to him, he would fold his hands and say, Dasosmi, I am your servant. So our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he also always used to go into a hidden place and give pranam in the distance, hiding, so his guru could not return the pranam to him. In 1924, it was the 50th birthday, the anniversary of the birth of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And at that time, he reinitiated the process of Vyasa Puja on the birthday of the Guru. Because generally, persons were doing Guru Puja on Vyasa Purnima, the birthday of Vyasa Day, not on the individual day of their Guru. But our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they used to do a Guru Purnima for Ishwara Puri and Guru Puja for Ishwara Puri and Madhavendra Puri on their birthday. But this tradition had been lost over time, and Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur initiated that tradition. So on that day, he said to all of his disciples that I see you as forms of my Gurudev, that my spiritual master has come in many forms to engage me in his service. So you are my Vipad Banjan Bandhu. That Vipad means calamity, and Banjan means breaking. Bandhu means friend. So he used to look to his disciples and say, you are my friends who have come to save me from the great calamity of being indifferent to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because you are engaging me constantly in hearing, chanting and remembering. So he was extremely humble. But many persons, they could not understand his message. Because in 1918, he took sannyas. So in our Gaudiya line, very few, negligible amount of persons had taken sannyas after the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and also his Gurudev, Ishwara Puri, and many disciples of Madhavendra Puri, like Brahmananda Bharati, Paramananda Puri, and others. They were sannyasis. And Lakshmipati, Madhavendra Puri, Lakshmipati Tirtha. There were many sannyasis in our line up to the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But our 6 Goswamis, they did not take sannyas, they accepted the Paramahamsa Vesh without any ceremony. Sanatana Goswami just took an old used cloth of Tapa Mishra and he tore it and put it on. There was no Babaji Vesh ceremony. So nowadays people say, well, you are not following the 6 Goswamis, we are following the 6 Goswamis. But actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur tore his own cloth and put it on. And that was his entrance into Vairagi, the renounced order. So he did what Srila Sanatana Goswami did. And those who are receiving Babaji Vesh, according to Vidi, some rules and regulations, that's not what the 6 Goswamis did. They were Paramahamsas. They were not involved in any this type of Vidi. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, also being Paramahamsa, he put on his own cloth like this. But he did it before a picture of his Gurudev. So for a transcendental person who has realization, the picture of Guru and Gurudev is the same. So it cannot be said as some have made the accusation that actually he gave to himself independently of his Guru's desire or request. So when he was younger, he made a very, very elaborate and in-depth study of the Ramanuja Sri Sampradaya and also the Madhva Sampradaya. And we see that he associated with many scholars and saints from those Sampradayas. And this gave him the inspiration that when he decided, and he was blessed, now you should preach, he thought the best way to preach is to do what Ramanujacharya has done, what Madhvacharya has done. They have accepted sannyas and they have made the mats and they have accepted brahmacharis in the mats and trained them and then sent them out full-time preaching. Because at the time of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, mainly the Sangha were all grihastas who were doing jobs. So they had some time for preaching and they could do something. But Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he wanted a very strong army of persons, full-time preaching, 24 hours. So seeing the example of Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya, and also receiving the order of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you should establish the Daivi Varnashram. Daivi Varnashram. That is the Varnashram Dharma, which is catering towards everyone entering into pure bhakti. Sometimes people say, this is not written in Shastra, Daivi Varnashram. Okay. In chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, that is called the Daiva Asura Sampad. That is the yoga of discrimination between the nature of asuras, the demonic persons and godly persons. Daiva and Asura Sampad. Those who have a demonic nature and those who have a godly nature. So when Varnashram Dharma is performed just for sense gratification, this is what the demons do. Ravan also followed Varnashram Dharma. Hiranyakashipu also followed Varnashram Dharma. And so many demons, Duryodhan and others, they followed Varnashram Dharma. They gave charity, they did so many pious activities. But what was the purpose? To inflate their own position, their own ego, their own enjoyment, their own position. So that is the Asuri Varnashram Dharma. So actual Varnashram Dharma is, Daivi Varnashram Dharma is manifesting the true purpose of Varnashram Dharma, where every person performs their duty as, without attachment to the result, as an offering to God, to make a social platform in which sadhus can freely go here and there and inspire everyone to practice bhajan in whichever position they are. Stane stita surtikatam tanuvan manobi ye praya sojita titokta sitaistilokyam. As Lord Brahma has said, no need to change your ashram or your varna or anything. Wherever you are, listen to Harikatha, engage in Harinam Sankirtan, and such a prem will come that Supreme Krishna, who cannot be conquered by anyone, will be conquered by your love. So, because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had said that you should try to establish the Daivi Varnashram, because at that time, especially in Bengal, all the aristocracy and the intelligentsia of Bengal were being anglicized and becoming Christians and becoming empiricists and following Western philosophy. So there was a danger that the whole structure of society would fall apart. So for all of these reasons, in 1918, our Sri Varshabani Devi Daita Das became Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So his disciples call him Prabhupada. Prabhupada is such a title. it means who is situated at the feet of the Supreme Lord. Or it can mean that Prabhu at whose feet so many other sages and sadhus and pure Vaishnava are sitting in his shelter. So this title any disciple has the right to call his Guru Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu refers to Sanatana Goswami as Prabhupada. Srimad Prabhupada Amboja, Amrita, Bhaktisiddhanta. And also we can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back from his tour of South India, then Kashi Mishra was informed by the king, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will stay in your house. So there he said, Kashi Mishra kohe ami bara bhagyavan Prabhupada amagriha hobe avastan. Oh, I am very fortunate because Prabhupada will stay in my house. So we see Kashi Mishra called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Prabhupada also, because he is Mahaprabhu and two Prabhus are always at his feet, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu. So, but at the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, in Bengal, this title Prabhupada was reserved only for caste Goswamis. Caste Goswamis. Those who were claiming to be the direct descendants of Nityananda Prabhu or any other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if they had a child and their son was born, he's already Prabhupada. Just by birth, he's Prabhupada. And any other Vaishnava could not be called Prabhupada, they could only be called Das Anudas, servant of the servant of Prabhupada. So this caste system had become very strong. And so for our Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur to accept this title Prabhupada, it had implications and ramifications that unless you were there at the time, you don't understand. It was very radical and revolutionary and infuriating to the very strict caste society at that time. What is this? They're all chanting Prabhupada, Prabhupada to him. He's not born in our Brahmin family or descendant of any associate of Mahaprabhu or Nityananda Prabhu. He's from Kayastha family and so on. So they would criticize in this way. So it was very, very radical. And when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was leading Navadvip Dham Parikrama through Navadvip town and they came to Paramatala, at that time some of those caste Goswamis and smarter Brahmins also, they got some thugs and they were on the rooftops and they were throwing the big colonial era soda bottles and rocks from the roofs. They were throwing them at the deities, at the devotees. They were trying to kill Srila Prabhupada. So at that time, many persons were afraid and they ran for their lives. But our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, by force, he caught Srila Prabhupada and dragged him into a house and then shut the door and then told him, give me your cloth. Prabhupada said no, but he would not take no for an answer. And he took Srila Prabhupada's cloth and gave him his own cloth and then sent him out. And now no one recognized him. And then our Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, at that time his name was Vinod Brahmachari. He was very tall and had same spectacles. He looked very much like Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So he was dressed up and he was waiting for the mob to come and kill him. But fortunately, they did not harm him. And only when he heard the news that Srila Prabhupada had arrived safely in Mayapur, then he escaped from that place and he went there. So you can see that now, I remember a few years ago I was with Param Pujpad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, and he was saying, now those very caste Goswamis and others who were criticizing the Navadvip Dham Parikrama of the Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, now they themselves are doing Navadvip Dham Parikrama with thousands of people. So the imitation is the highest form of flattery. And we can see a few generations later, people understand the contribution of our Sri Bhagavat Guru Parampara. Because actually, where are the different islands of Navadvip? At that time, no one knew. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur discovered all of these places and wrote about it in Navadvip Bhav Taranga and in Navadvip Dham Mahatmya. And then he told Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur to re-inaugurate this Navadvip Dham Parikrama, which was first done by Jiva Goswami under the guidance of Nityananda Prabhu. Later it was performed by Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya and Ramananda Kaviraj under the guidance of Ishan Thakur, servant in the house of Sachimata. But then for many years there was no parikrama, and Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, we can say he's like a contractor. If Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the architect, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is the contractor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote the plans how Krishna consciousness should be spread all over the world. And then the contractor Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, according to those plans, he implemented them practically in the world. And we can see today how tremendously successful it was. So even only a few generations later, the descendants of his detractors are now honoring him by following in his footsteps. Okay? Whether they admit it or not, we are satisfied. The glorification is there, admittedly or unadmittedly. So, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was so powerful. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, that time his name was Pranavananda Brahmachari. And he said that Srila Prabhupada was printing so many periodicals. They had monthly journals, bi-weekly journals, weekly journals, and even they had a daily newspaper, Nadia Prakash. So you can imagine how hard all the devotees are working all the time, producing these and distributing them. It's quite astonishing. So articles had to come all the time. And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he would call, Pranavananda Brahmachari, come here. Ananta Vasudev, come here. Sundarananda Vidvinod, they were his two main scholars. He called them his right and left hand. So then the three of them would sit at his feet and take a pen and paper. And then he would dictate one sentence to the first one. And while he was writing it, then he would dictate a sentence to the next one. And while he was writing that, he would dictate a sentence to the next one. And if one of them, their pen stopped because they'd finished writing, then he would say the next sentence to the next one, like this. And in this way, he would dictate 3 different philosophical articles at the same time. So you can just not even imagine how much space he has on his hard drive. And you can read the articles of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. They're so astonishing and so perfect. But he was running 3 of them at the same time and just dictating. So after some time, Pranavananda Brahmachari came to his Gurudev. And Prabhupada told him, you have heard so much from me and you have taken dictation of so many articles. From now on, I want you to write your own articles. He said, Gurudev, I can write your articles, but I cannot write my own articles. He said, no, just begin. And then he took a pen and paper and he said, but Gurudev, I don't know how to begin. He said, begin like this. Sri Sri Guru Gaurango Jayataha. Oh, glories to Guru and Gauranga. So then, Pranavananda Brahmachari took his pen, he wrote Sri Sri Guru. And when he wrote the syllable Ru, then he had fantastic ideas were coming to him. And from that day, for his whole life, till he was 101 years old, his pen never stopped. So, our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is like this. This is the power of the Agya, order of Guru. Agya Guru Nam Avicharaniya. One should not deliberate on the order of Guru. What Guru has ordered, one should just do it. Qualified, not qualified. This is not our decision. By mercy of Guru, he can use us to become an instrument to manifest his mercy in the world. So Pranavananda Brahmachari experienced this in his life. I went to the birthplace of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Jagannath Puri. And after some time, that house Narayan Chakra where Prabhupada was born, it was demolished, but the land was purchased by Srila Bhakti Dait Madhav Maharaj, and they constructed a very beautiful mutt there in Prabhupada's birthplace. So I went there, and it was perhaps the last, or one of the very last surviving disciples of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. That was Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari. Anyone know him? Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari? So he was Srila Prabhupada's personal servant, and he used to cook for Srila Prabhupada. So he was a very astonishing person, even to the last moment when he was on his bed and couldn't move. And we came to see him, he was preaching very powerfully. So his history, how he joined the Math, is quite astonishing. Srila Prabhupada came to his village. It was quite a remote village. And only seeing Prabhupada, he was astonished and became very attached to him. And when Srila Prabhupada was leaving, he, with tears in his eyes, he begged, "Oh please, I want to join your mission." So they had made a Math nearby that village. Srila Prabhupada told him, "Don't go and join in that Math. Because it's close by, all the villages will come and they'll make a big disturbance to the Math. You're only 15, it will be a big problem. So look, I'll give you a train ticket." And he sent one of his brahmacharis to get a train ticket. And Srila Prabhupada gave the train ticket. He said, "Here's the train ticket. You should go travel to some distance to the nearest station." And he'd never been to that. In fact, in his life, he'd never even seen a train. And Prabhupada said, "You get on the train there to Calcutta. And one stop before Calcutta, get down at the train station. And one brahmachari will be waiting there to meet you. And he'll bring you to our Math in Calcutta. Okay?" Then he said, "Yes, Gurudev, I'll do it." And then Srila Prabhupada left. So then, the next day, he made his way to the train station. It's just a 15-year-old boy from a village. And the train came. Agasura. Like a big... So he'd never seen a train before in his life. It was quite overwhelming for him. So then he got on the train and he was sitting on the train and he was going for some time, some hours. And then when he was sitting there, he was thinking, "Oh, what if I get off at the wrong station? Or what if I get down at the station and there's no one there to meet me? And I don't know my way back and I have no way of getting back." And he just started to cry. And he was just sitting on the train and crying. Then he looked up and saw, oh, Srila Prabhupada was there. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came into his carriage and sat down with him. And he was holding him and stroking his head and saying, "Don't cry, look. I told you what to do. Just the stop before Calcutta, you should get down and Brahmachari will be waiting for you." So then he dried his eyes and Prabhupada said, "Okay, so do you understand?" "Yes, Gurudev." "You won't cry anymore, will you?" No, Prabhupada, I won't cry anymore." "So you trust what I'm saying?" "Yes, Prabhupada, I trust you." "All right, okay." So that when he made him peaceful and his heart was satisfied, then he got up and then he went. And then when he arrived at that station, he got down, a brahmachari brought him to the Math. He said, "From that time, when I was 15 years old, then I realized that Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was not an ordinary person." In Mayapur, in the Sri Chaitanya Math, that is the headquarters of the whole Gaudiya, the whole mission of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. There was one big jackfruit tree. And so many jackfruits, sometimes they grow so huge. You can feed so many people with them. But every time a jackfruit became ripe on the tree, and the devotees were thinking, "Oh, tomorrow or the next day we'll take it and we'll offer it to Krishna." And offer bhog to Krishna and take Mahaprasad of jackfruit sabji. But the jackfruits would just disappear. So they were thinking some thief is coming to the Math, and every time some jackfruits are ripe, stealing our jackfruit. We cannot allow this, stealing from Krishna. So then brahmacharis took turns, and at night they stayed nearby watching the tree at night. But they didn't see anyone, they could not catch anyone, but still every time a jackfruit or a few jackfruits became ripe, they disappeared. So then they were thinking, what's going on? So there was a thief. The thief was very clever. He thought, they'll know because all thieves steal at night, but I'll steal during the day. And then they won't catch me. He was watching what was going on in the Math, and if you know, in any Gaudiya Math, after the noon arti and then prasada, everyone takes some rest. So he saw the daily life in the mutt, and in the afternoon when everyone was taking rest, he used to come and steal the jackfruit. So one devotee had an idea. I'll stay awake when everyone sleeps and watch this tree. So he was watching and he saw that thief came and he took about 4 jackfruits and he came and caught him. And then he woke everyone up. Hey, I caught the thief! I've caught the thief! And everyone woke up and came and they started to beat him. So then one devotee said, no, don't beat him. Let's take him to Srila Prabhupada. And what punishments Srila Prabhupada prescribes for him, he should have that punishment. So they agreed. And they brought the thief before Srila Prabhupada with his 4 big jackfruits. So Srila Prabhupada asked him, and what's your name? He said he's what village are you from? He said, do you have family? He said, yes, I have wife and I have children and my old parents also living in my home. So you have enough jackfruit for your whole family for 1 week. And but you cannot live on a diet of only jackfruit. So then Srila Prabhupada called the Bandari. So he called the Bandari, the quartermaster, and he told him, go into the store and bring so many the pounds of rice and dal and some other vegetables. Bring them here, and then Srila Prabhupada sends a few brahmacharis to carry everything back to that person's home. And so he left not only with his jackfruit, because you can't live on jackfruit, but also with some rice and dal and other vegetables, and he arrived back in his home. The devotees were thinking, what is Prabhupada doing? Because they cannot understand his mind. When that man returned home, he told his whole family what had happened, and they became so inspired that himself and the whole family, they came back to the mat and they surrendered and took initiation for Srila Prabhupada. So the pure Vaishnavas, they have such a vision how to bring about the benefit of all the living entities. Srila Prabhupada, he did Brajmandal Parikrama. And he stayed in Radhakund. And when he was in Radhakund, he was giving lectures on the Upanishads. Why? Because it's necessary to have a strong foundation in Siddhanta. Siddhanta Baliyachiti Nakra Alas. The others who were there thought, why is he speaking on the Upanishads here in Radhakund? But Yahoit is Krishna Lagi Surdida Manas. If one has a very strong understanding of Siddhanta, then the mind will become steady. And with the steady mind, when one chants the holy name, then gradually there's an unfolding of realization. But also during Brajmandal Parikrama, and another year when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came and spent the entire Kartik in Radhakund, he began to speak on the Astakaliya Lila of Radha and Krishna. That means the pastimes of Radha Krishna as they're going on eternally, since the early morning, Nishanta Lila before the sun rises, at the end of night. When Radha and Krishna are lying asleep in each other's tight embrace in a Nikunj. And then soon the sun will rise, so Brinda Devi tells the birds, peacocks and parrots to sing, to very sweetly wake up Radha and Krishna. But they're so attached to each other, they don't want to go home. So it's very bittersweet moments, and we are celebrating and remembering that every morning in Mangalati. And then Krishna returns to Nandagaon and Radhika returns to Yavat. Then Krishna wakes up and goes to milk the cows, and Radharani is bathed and decorated by her Sakhis, and then she comes to Nandagaon to cook in the kitchen of Yashodamaya. Krishna comes back, takes his bath, and then takes the preparations cooked by Shrimati Radhika, and then he leaves the village of Nandagaon with his cows and friends and goes out to the forest. So like this, Krishna's daily pastimes, Astakaliya Lila, are going on. They are ocean of unlimited prema rasa. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur began to speak on this. He said that you are not qualified to hear it, but those who have been chanting Harinam for 15 or 20 years, then they should know about this highest ideal. One should not make the mistake of thinking that the goal of life is anartha nivritti. The goal of my life is to get free from kam, krodh, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, lust, anger, greed, and this is not the goal of life, anartha nivritti, to take away the unwanted things. The goal of life is the artha pravriti, how to get the valuable objective of life. What is that valuable objective of life? That is Radha Dasya. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, very often an emphasis is put on his cutting of Mayavad philosophy and cutting the jungles of different types of philosophical deviations. But Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was the topmost Rasik Vaishnava. He is the incarnation of Naina Mani Manjari. Naina Mani Manjari means, Naina Mani means the jewel of the eyes of Radharani. Just as the eyelids, spontaneously, without any thought or conscious volition, if something comes to threaten the eye, the eyelids immediately close and protect the eye. So in the same way, spontaneously, with great love, Radhika is always protecting her Palyadasi, her maidservants. That is Naina Mani Manjari. So that very Naina Mani Manjari came in this world as Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Towards the end of his pastimes, he was staying in Chatak Parvat in Jagannath Puri and weeping. Nija nikathanivasam dehi govadanatam pramada madana lila khandare khandare te rachati navayuna dondam asminna mandan iti kila kalanatam lagna kastadhayo me nija nikathanivasam dehi govadanatam. Oh Giriraj Govardhan, in your very beautiful caves and kunjas, the beautiful divine couple Radha Krishna are intoxicated in their loving pastimes, and you are the witness of those pastimes, so you can grant that vision to me. Oh Giriraj Govardhan, please give me a residence at your side. In 1991, my Gurudev told what he had heard from his Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. Towards the end of the pastimes of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he called some of his senior devotees together. So Vinod Brahmacharya, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was there, and Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, Kunj Bihari, and others. And he said, I came to this world to give that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. I wanted very much to speak more about the reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance and the speciality of his gift. But I spent so much time cutting the jungles of Aul, Baul, Kartabaja, Nera, Jat Gosai, Sahaja Saki Beki Smarta, Atibari Chudadari, Goranga Nagari, Eiteras Sangi, Totukohi, Eitera Sangi Nahikari. All these Apasampradayas, Aul, Baul, Kartabaja, Nara, Daraveshasai. So many deviant sects, he had to cut these. He said, but, and then his face became very red. And he said, Yasya kadapi vasananchale kelan utta dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritartamani yogendra durgamagati madusudanopi tasya namostu vrishabhanu bhuvo dishepi. Srimati Radhika is in Man, she's somewhat upset with Krishna. And she's on the other side of the Radha Kund. And Krishna has come on this side. And he's looking, where is Radhika? Where is Radhika? Just then a breeze blew and touched the corner of the anchal of Radhika. And as the breeze touched her cloth, it became infused with the Anga Saurabh, the fragrance of Radhika's body. So now the breeze was intoxicated by the fragrance of Srimati Radhika. And just as an intoxicated person cannot walk quickly, So this breeze also stumbled and staggered across the surface of Radha. And as Krishna was sitting and feeling great separation from Radhika, then her fragrance entered into his nose. And he folded his hands and gave praise to the breeze. Oh breeze, danyati danya pavanena kritatamani. You have made my life successful. This is Prem Katha, the nature of love. So Yogendra Durgamati Madhusudanopi, that Madhusudan Krishna, who is very difficult to attain for the great yogis, if they'll have a glimpse of him for one split second in their trance, they'll consider their lives successful. But that very Krishna, if he can only smell the fragrance of Radhika from far away, he feels that his life is successful. Therefore, Tasya namostu brishabhanu bhavo dishepi, I bow down. I am not qualified to bow down to Radhika. I bow down only to the direction in which Srimati Radhika, the daughter of Brishabhanu Maharaj, is standing. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur became very emotional and spoke this verse. Then he said another verse. He said, Raghunath Das Goswami has said, Smara vilasita talpe jaupalila manalpam kramakriti parihinam bibrate nasardam mito iva pariramba ramba vritaika vashma shanamapi mamaradha netramanandayatvam. When will the beauty of Radhika give joy to my eyes? She's reclining on a bed of flowers with her beloved hero, Sri Krishna. And at that time, she's so many waves of love that she's speaking. So much jalpa. Jalpa lilam analpam. And not a little, a lot. Alpam is a little. Jalpa lilam analpam. She's speaking so much. And what she's saying, kramakrita parihinam, bibrati teina sadam. One sentence has no connection with the next sentence. It's very confusing. Krishna thinking, what is she talking about? In her great ecstasy. And she's embracing Krishna so tightly, as if the two of them will become one. When will this vision give joy to my eyes? So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, began to share his divine ecstasies as Nayana Mani Manjari. Before, sometimes he would be speaking Harikatha and he would say, Nadyastadata tupadarya makunda gita avarta lakshita mano bhava bhagna vega alinganasta gitamomi bhujamarare prinanti pada yugalam kamalo pahara. The gopis are in their homes, but they can hear the sound of Sri Krishna's flute. And Srimati Radhika is saying, oh, when Sri Krishna plays upon his flute on the bank of Jamuna, then the flow of Jamuna stops. She becomes stunned, and then she goes into whirlpools. And these whirlpools twist the lotus flowers and break them from their stems. And then by the waves of her hands, she carries the lotus flowers and offers them as gifts, as a presentation at the feet of Krishna. Oh, how fortunate is Jamuna! I am here trapped inside my home, but Jamuna Devi is serving Sri Krishna. And Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's voice became choked, and he became stunned, and tears were flowing from his eyes. Once, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was in Puri, and it was the time of the Snan Yatra. So as you know, after the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath, then you cannot have his darshan for 15 days, because they do the Navayovanam, that is changing the decorations, the cloth, which is covering the face of Lord Jagannath, and repainting. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to leave Puri, and he used to go to the place called the Brahmagiri, and there is a temple, Alanath temple. So there is a very beautiful four-handed deity of Lord Narayan. And when Mahaprabhu went there, his separation was so high. This place is called the Dvitiya Sannyas Sthan, the place of Mahaprabhu's second sannyas. Because his first sannyas is he left all of his associates of Navadvip and went to Puri. But the time of the Navayoganam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also leaves all of his Puri associates and goes and stays alone there in the temple of Alanath. So when Mahaprabhu was running there, he was feeling so much separation that just before he arrived at the temple of Alanath, he fainted and fell to the ground. And by the influence of Mahabhav, the stone beneath him melted. And so perhaps some of you, have you been? Yeah, have you been? So there's a stone there with the imprint of Mahaprabhu's elbows and his head and his chest and knees and feet, where the stone melted when he fell to the ground. So this place, it's a very important place, but it had fallen into ruin, complete ruin. So at the time when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came there, he thought, oh, I must, as a service to the Holy Dham and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, renovate this important place. So he took some money that the devotees of Gaudiya Math had collected and called many artisans, and they began to rebuild the temple and renovate the temple. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was so enthusiastic for the renovation of this temple that when the workers were taking a break to roll their cigarettes, he said, just, you keep working, I'll roll your cigarettes. And he was rolling cigarettes for the workers. Can you believe it? Srila Prabhupada was rolling cigarettes. So one day, the devotees looked around and they said, where's Prabhupada? And they couldn't see him. So they began searching and they wandered in the forest nearby and they found Srila Prabhupada lying unconscious in the forest, on the ground, weeping. So when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came to external consciousness again, he said, I saw the swarupa of this place. He said that once during the Vasanta Rasalila, springtime Rasalila, at Govardhan, Rasalila was going on and Sri Krishna thought he would play a trick by hiding from the Braja Gopis. So he disappeared and went inside a kunj. After some time he saw gopis were coming. So he said, I should go somewhere else. But as he was coming out, he saw they were coming from the other side and he was surrounded on all sides and there was no way out. So then he thought, what will I do? And then as gopis got nearer to him, then Sri Krishna, he manifested a four-arm form. And when the gopis came, and they thought, oh, is that Krishna? And they came and then they saw Lord Narayan, four-arm form. Then they bowed down. Yosi, Sosti, Namostute. Whoever you are, our pranams to you. Please bless us that we can find the son of Nanda Maharaj. So they prayed to Lord Narayan that they could meet with Sri Krishna, and then they went on their way. So then Krishna was very chuffed with himself. That trick worked. And then he thought, oh, now Radhika will come. So then Radhika was coming. And as Radhika approached, then the fragrance of Srimati Radhika came before her on the breeze. And only smelling the fragrance of Radhika, 2 arms of Krishna disappeared. And he came back in his Dvibhuja Murlidhara Swarup. 2 hands and holding the flute. Actually, he was trying to manifest the 4 arms. But he simply could not. It was not possible. Why? Because Radhika's Prem is the extreme limit of Madanakya Mahabhav. And because Krishna is Premadin, under the control of love. So different devotees can control Krishna to different degrees due to the degree of their love. But because Radhika's Prem is Paramahan, the highest level of Prem, so her control over Sri Krishna is absolute. He is completely Prem Adin, under the control of Radhika. And so his arms disappeared, and he was a surprise to himself that he could not maintain that swarup in her presence. So everyone was thinking this deity was a deity of Alanath, a deity of Lord Narayan, worshipped by the Alwas. But Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said no. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to come here, he was coming here in the mood of Radharani, searching for Krishna who was hidden from the Rasalila. And Krishna is present here in the 4-armed form of Alanath. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here, then his 2 arms disappeared and Mahaprabhu saw Alanath as Dvibhuja Murlidhara, 2-handed Krishna in the flute. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said this place, the Brahmagiri, is none different from Paitagaon, which is just close to Chandrasarova and Giraj Govardhan, where this pastime happened in Braj Mandal. So in this way, there are many occasions in the life of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur where his profound realization and his position as Param Rasik Rupanuga Vaishnava was manifest. Once there was a religious assembly, Dharma Sabha, and one devotee there was speaking about Sri Krishna's Leela, and he said, in the Rasa Leela, Sri Krishna disappeared from all Braj Gopis, taking Radharani with him. And then Sri Krishna served Radhika. But then when the other gopis were approaching, Krishna could hear them coming. So Krishna said to Radhika, let's go further into the forest. Radhika said, oh, na parayam chalitam, I am unable to walk. If you want to go somewhere, you can carry me. And then Sri Krishna said, yes, you should sit on my shoulder. And then she looked and Krishna disappeared. And when Krishna abandoned her, it was such an extreme shock that Radhika cried out, Ha nata ramana preshta kwasi kwasi mahabhuja dasyaste kripanaya me sakke dashaya sandhidil. Oh my Nath, oh my Ramana, without you I will die, come back. See, Krishna, it was as if she heard Krishna said, but you're about to die, if I come back it's too late. Said, no, kwasi kwasi mahabhuja, you have mahabhuj, powerful arms, and just the touch of your arms will be like a medicine which will completely revive me, like Amrita. Then Krishna said, I am the son of a prince, why did you tell me to carry you around? So, Sakke darshaya sanhidim, oh, you served me in such a way, like a friend, that I became so close to you. I thought I could speak to you in this way. Please forgive me. So, saying these words, Radharani fainted to the ground. So this devotee was speaking this katha, and when Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur heard it, he began to shake, and he could not tolerate it. And he stood up and interrupted the katha. He said, don't say, Ha nata ramana prasta. Rather you should say, Itastatastam manusritya radikam ananga bana brana kinna manasa kritanuta pasa kalinda nandini tatancha kunjay vishasara madhava. That first verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam. But now Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is quoting a verse from Gita Govinda, where Radhika was late for Rasalila, and without her permission, Krishna just began the Rasalila with the other gopis. So then when Radhika arrived, she saw Krishna in the distance. And Krishna saw her, and she turned around and disappeared into the forest. So then Krishna thought, oh, now I'm in big trouble. And even though so many beautiful gopis were all trying to serve him and please him, he was just looking through them as if they were not there. And he got up, itastatastam manusritya radikam, and he wandered from kunj to kunj on the bank of Jamuna, various places where they had met before, where he thought she might be waiting for him, but he could not find her anywhere. So finally, feeling great remorse, great regret, Shri Krishna sat down and began to weep and lament. Vishasada Madhava, Madhav, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the most fortunate person, is lamenting how unfortunate he is. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, say this verse. Why? Because he is the incarnation of Nayana Mani Manjari. Those who are the dasis of Srimati Radhika. Sri Krishna Virahi Radhika Radasha Amito Sahite Nare. When Radhika is in separation, then I cannot tolerate it. Jugala Milan Sukera Karan Jivete Charite Pari. For the sake of bringing Radha Krishna together, I can give up my life thousands of times. So those who are the Palya Dasis, the maidservants of Srimati Radhika, they cannot tolerate to hear that Radhika is in separation because of Krishna's misdeeds. So he said, don't say that. Better to say that Krishna is in separation for his misdeeds. So our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, since the time when 1905 to 1915 when he did his Nam Bhajan from the age of 31 to 41. At that time, since that time, he used to recite the Vilap Kosamanjali of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Every day. He memorized it by heart. No need to read. He memorized the whole poem of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and he used to recite it every day. Devi Dukha Kula Sagarodare Dhuyamanam Api Durgatam Janam Tam Kripa Prabala Naukadbutam Prapaya Swapada Pankajalayam. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was absorbed in his Siddhavesh, his identity as Rati Manjari, maidservant of Srimati Radhika, and very close and intimate associate of Rupa Manjari. And she was serving Srimati Radhika, decorating her lotus feet with lac. But then, suddenly his samadhi broke. And when, after being in the joy of Radhika's direct service, Raghunath Das Goswami found himself, I am here, in this world, in this male sadhak form. Then it was extremely painful, extremely shocking. And he's crying, Devi Dukha Kula Sagarodane. Oh Devi, oh Radhika, Devi means Devi Kohi Jotamana Paramasundari Kimva Krishna Puja Krida Bosati Nagari. That person who is so radiant, effulgent and supremely beautiful, whose entire body is a place of Krishna's puja, worship and Krishna's playground, that is Devi. Oh Devi, Dukha Kula Sagarodare, I am drowning in an endless ocean of suffering and misery. Oh Devi, please, place me in the boat of your mercy. And by this boat of your mercy, rescue me from this endless ocean of suffering and bring me to your lotus feet. And crying like this, then again he would go in Siddhavesh and see that she is there, Rati Manjari is there, and serving, massaging the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. After some time, this Purti would again disappear, and he was thrown into the great pain of separation. Twadda lokala kalahi gangsa eva mritam janam. Oh Radhika, I have been bitten by the poisonous snake of not seeing you. Please, Tad kripa mila laksha beisaja devi jivaya. That lac with which I was painting your lotus feet is the only Ayurvedic medicine that is the antidote for this poison of separation, of not seeing you. So he's not speaking poetically, he's feeling his whole body is the burning from the poison of separation. And only if he can become again in Avesh and be as Rati Manjari, painting the lotus feet of Radhika, then can be cured of that the effect of that virulent poison. So just as Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was going in and out of external consciousness, internal consciousness, external consciousness, and burning in the fire of separation, so Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was in that same mood. When he was doing his vow to chant 1 billion names, he was like a mad person. Sometimes in his roof, there was a hole in the roof, it was raining, water was coming through, he just took an umbrella. Hare Krishna. His Gurudev, Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj commented, he was watching how he was doing bhajan, and he said that I can see the renunciation of Das Goswami in my Prabhu. So Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj used to call his one and only disciple my Prabhu. And it was his experience that he was seeing that unearthly, supernatural detachment from the world that was present in Raghunath Das Goswami. Vairagya Yog Bhakti Rasam Prayatna apayanam manamanu vitsamandam. This level of detachment is actually not possible. It is not a yogic feat of tapasya, but rather it is the anubhav, it is the side effect of the very profound attachment to the service of the lotus feet of Sri Gandharvika Srimati Radhika. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, in his final days, he was saying, I spent so much time cutting jungles, but I wanted to give you this. So now you should know that time is very short. Life is very short. So we have not come to this world to be construction workers, only building temples. We have not come to this world to do welfare work, building schools and hospitals, all of these things. But rather, carrying the shoes of the pure devotees upon our heads, we are initiates into the mantra, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Don't neglect the seven-tongued fire of Harinam Sankirtan. Always keep the kirtan going and keep within your heart only one aim and objective. Adadanas tinam dantair idam jachai puna puna Srimad Rupa Padambojo Dulisham Janma Janmani. As Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Pad has prayed, I take a straw between my teeth and I bow down again and again. And with great pain I am begging that lifetime after lifetime I want nothing other than to be a speck of dust at the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. He said all of you should be ready to spend gallons of blood to nourish the spiritual body of even one soul in this world. And if you will go on performing Harinam Sankirtan every day throughout your life and preaching and internally taking full shelter of the Ashray Tattva, Ashray Vigraha, that is Sri Guru and Srimati Radhika, then at the end of your life you will experience the supreme goal of all existence, Radha Dasi. And shortly after that, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he told Srila Bhaktirakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj to sing Srila Narottam Das Thakur's Si Rupa Manjari Pada, Sei Mora Sampada, Sei Mora Bhajana Pujan, Sei Mora Pranadhana, Sei Mora Abarana, Sei Mora Jivana Jivan. The lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, they are my only treasure, they are my only ornament, they are my pran, they are my ocean of rasa, they are my japa, my tapa, brata, they are the goal of all my dharma and karma. Oh, when will that day come? When I will behold the beautiful lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, then the lotus of my heart will be blossoming day and night. Oh Rupa Manjari, I am bitten by the snake of separation from you, and due to this I have been suffering for a long, long time. Alas, alas, O Rupa Goswami, please bestow your mercy upon me. And being absorbed in this bhav, then at 5:30, about 5:30 in the morning, then Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, in the form of Naina Mani Manjari, entered into the Nishanta Leela of Radha and Krishna. Nitya Leela Parvishta Om Vishnu Pare Stodara Sata Sishimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Diya Tirva Titima Mahosava Ki Jai Itai Gaur Preman
Sadhu, sadhu.
So Srila Prabhupada disappeared in Calcutta. There were some devotees who were there. Bihari wanted to take the divine form of Prabhupada to the Smashan Ghat. But our Vinod Brahmachari, Param Guru Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshu Goswami Maharaj, he stood up and forbade anyone. No one should take him to the Smashan Ghat. Knowing the heart of Srila Prabhupada, Vinod Brahmachari arranged to bring Srila Prabhupada with Kirtan back to and in that exact place excuse me, where Prabhupada from 1905 to 1915 he put Nam Bhajan and all his nectar and realization, he had the pastimes of his realizations. That was his Siddhasthana. This is the great desire of the Vaishnavas, that they'll be in Samadhi in that place where they had the pastime of attaining their Siddhi. So Bhakti Pragyan Keshav, knowing this, brought Srila Prabhupada there, and himself with his own hands he dug the hole and put Srila Prabhupada in Samadhi, and he said that you cannot do a cremation because Srila Prabhupada has not passed away, he is not dead, he is in Mahasamadhi and in meditation serving the lotus feet of Sri Gandhavika Giridhari, and now he is eternally present here in the Sri Chaitanya Math and very mercifully present to give guidance to all of us forever. So we should know that the samadhis of the great acharyas, they are places where we can go, where we can pray and receive the inspiration. Just like our Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Prabhupada, he did his bhajan where at the samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan, and was inspired by him to come to the West and spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu everywhere. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.